Alright guys, what's going on? Well, today's video is going to be a little bit different. Today, we are talking about camera gear and everything I use to shoot my vlogs. Alright guys, so today I'm going to finally answer some of the questions that I've been getting for quite a while now. Some a little bit on the comments on my videos, but actually mostly when I'm actually out filming out at some car shows and other events, people are always coming up to me and asking me what camera gear I use. They watch my videos, they like what they see, but they want to know what I use. Now, by no means am I a professional in any way. I only started this channel back in April, so I've been learning a lot. And in today's video, I'm actually going to go over everything I've learned over the last couple months filming automotive vlogging as kind of like my specialty. So if you're into that kind of stuff, this video is definitely for you guys. Alright, so the main camera that I use for most of my shooting is going to be my Sony a6300. Now, when I first started the channel, I actually used to use a Canon camera setup, and I love Canon. They are awesome cameras, great lens selection, lots of options, and when you're starting out, they are probably one of the best cameras to kind of learn how to use a DSLR if you've never used one before. But as I started to kind of progress my skills and I started to kind of figure out what I like stylistically wise, I started to kind of see more benefits to running a Sony mirrorless camera versus a Canon camera. And here's a couple of the main reasons why I chose to go this way. So number one is actually going to be it shoots in 4K. That's kind of becoming the new standard when it comes to cameras, and everyone's trying to shoot in 4K. It is a better resolution, it does produce a better overall image, and it gives you a lot more to work with when you're in post-production as well. So that was number one reason why I chose it. Number two is frame rate. So for especially in automotive vlogging and automotive filming, you really want to be able to get some cool dramatic slow motion shots, and in order to do that you need something that's going to film at a higher frames per second. So Canon, unfortunately, only goes up to 60 frames a second. And when you're trying to edit that in post-production, it's never really quite silky smooth. Whereas Sony actually shoots at 120 frames per second. So that is huge when you're trying to do some slow motion shots. So, and that's at 1080p as well. So that's great. So that was the main reason why I decided to go with it. The other reason I decided to kind of go to a mirrorless setup, kind of like the last reason, is it's a lot smaller, it's more compact. So when you're out filming, you kind of don't draw as much attention to you. People kind of think it's like a point and shoot camera and they're just taking photos, you're not actually doing videos. So if you're trying to get some video shots of kind of the crowd and the group at a car show, you don't want to stand out with this big giant rig. And having a little bit smaller of a camera actually really helps me out when I'm trying to get those shots. So that's kind of the main reasons why I went with the Sony on this one. Alright guys, so you got your camera, you got all set up, you're going to have to grab some lenses, batteries, all sorts of fun stuff like these guys right here. But once you kind of got the main camera situated, the other thing you're going to want, especially as an automotive vlogger, is you're going to want some aerial footage, and that's where you got to bring in a drone. Now, I decided to go with the tried and true DJI Phantom. But unlike a lot of guys out there who decide to go with a Pro or a 4K, I decided to go with the standard. The reason why I went this way was it's my first drone. I've never actually flown a drone before I decided to start doing this kind of stuff, and I knew that I was eventually going to crash it. And I did. And the benefit of having a DJI standard, or Phantom standard, rather than a more expensive one, is the parts are a little bit easier. So I ended up getting this thing fixed for only a few $100, and looks great, no problems, still flies great. I took it to an authorized DJI dealer, they did the repairs for me, and it works awesome. So the other cool thing about this guy is the camera itself is actually 2.7K, so it's not quite 4K, but it's better than 1080p. And the picture I've gotten off it's actually been really good, and a lot of people have complimented me on the drone footage, and they've wanted to use it even in one of their other channels. So it's a great one to start off. It's inexpensive. It's a great kind of stepping stone to kind of jump up to something like a DJI Mavic, which would probably be the next one for me. But this is a great drone to have, so a must-have if you're going to start doing this type of filming. Alright, so you got your main camera, you've got your drone, you're all set there, but what about your suction mount kind of action shots, you're outside the car, your exhaust clips, all that kind of fun stuff? You are going to need action cameras. Now, the major Goliath in this industry is GoPro. A lot of guys use GoPro, a lot of guys love them. I decided to kind of stick with Sony on this one. Now, I'm not trying to sound like a Sony fanboy or anything like that, but the reason I went with these guys on this one, a couple of reasons actually. Number one, their built-in microphones are far superior to GoPro's built-in mics. So if you're in a situation where you have to use the audio coming off of this, it's usable. It's not too bad. And I kind of like the footage overall on these. I find the color I like a little bit more. They're definitely a sharper image, which I also like as well. It shoots in 4K on this particular one that I have. This is kind of my main one that I use all the time. And I got it mounted on one of the Sony suction mounts. So this is not a bad little mount, but it's a great little camera. And you know what, for the price point that you pay for this guy, it's right around the same as some of the GoPros. But overall, I kind of like this one a little bit more. So that's my choice. Alright, so you got your main camera, your drones, your action cameras. Now you got to address your audio situation. So for most guys out there, this little guy right here is a great one for the Sony a6300. It's a Rode mic. It's one of their smaller ones. This one works great paired up with the Sony because it's a smaller microphone. You got a smaller camera. Once again, you're kind of going for that stealth kind of incognito kind of setup here. You don't want something overly large. And this one works really well. I have another Rode mic. It's actually out for repair right now. It's the VideoMic Go. It's been a great microphone as well. Definitely a little bit nicer than this one, a little bit bigger though, but I'm actually having some issues with it. It's been sent out for repair. So as soon as I get that one back, I might actually step up to something like the new Pro Plus, which is their new microphone. The biggest drawback for their regular Pro that I never really wanted to jump on and grab it is you had to turn it on. It was battery powered, 9-volt battery, and so I'm a kind of forgetful person, and I'm probably going to end up forgetting to turn that mic on, and then I'm going to have no audio, so that's going to suck. So I definitely didn't want to go that way. I wanted something a little bit more foolproof with these kind of Rode mics. But with their new mic, it actually works a little bit better. It actually has automatically turning on and off. And instead of having a 9-volt battery, it actually has a AA battery or a lithium battery. So it's a much more reliable setup. And I think if you're looking to spend a little bit more money than these guys, that's definitely the microphone to have. So I'd recommend that one for sure. Alright guys, next thing you're going to need to address is how you're mounting your cameras. So I got a couple things here that I'm going to go over with you guys. So for the most part, this guy's going to be your number one. This is your vlogger special. This is a Joby GorillaPod. This is the higher end one. This is more like the pro version. The reason why I like this one is it's all metal instead of being plastic like some of the other ones. And I find when you're bending the arms, it just seems to be a little bit more durable and a little bit more rugged. And so you're handing this guy out here like this, and you're talking to the camera. It's not going to droop on you. It's not going to kind of move around. It's definitely overkill for the Sony camera. I bought this originally when I got the Canon setup. So for the weight of a Canon, this worked out really well. But you never know. I kind of wanted to buy one GorillaPod, and then as I move up in different cameras, I didn't want to have to go, oh no, this one doesn't really support the weight very well. I need to kind of go with something else. If I decide to go like a Sony full frame, this is going to work out great for that. So you buy it once and then you're done. So I really like this guy. Alright, the next thing, if you want to start thinking about, is how do you get that really smooth footage when you're walking. So you're doing automotive stuff, you're going to be walking around the car, you're going to be walking towards it. You want to make sure that you're not getting all that camera shake going on. And originally in a lot of my footage when I first started out, I didn't have anything to solve that. So a lot of my stuff was kind of shaky. And recently, you probably started to notice it got a little bit smoother. And the reason for that is this guy right here. This is a Zhiyun crane, and this guy is an actual gimbal, motorized gimbal. So a couple of benefits to having something like this. Obviously, as you move the camera, or as you move your arm around, the camera's going to stay nice and still. So your footage is going to look really good. You can actually invert it as well, so when you're trying to get some low shots and kind of move up and everything, it's going to work great for that. But the other really kind of nice thing about having something like this is it's a lot easier to set up than a manual one. I originally got one of those camera gliders, which has counterweights on it. They're really cheap. You can get them for like $100, $150. But the problem with those is you spend a lot of time setting them up. You got to get the weights just right. The camera's going to droop. And as you start to move and walk around, you actually have to constantly kind of make contact with the stem to make sure the camera tracks straight. So you're walking this way, but then the camera starts to go that way, and now you're trying to correct it and it just ends up ruining the shot. So with this guy, you can set it up a lot faster, and that was kind of like one of my main reasons why I wanted to go with this. Automotive vlogging, automotive shooting, you don't always have a lot of time to set up. Sometimes you got to get something real quick, a car just showed up or a car's about to leave, you really want to get some footage on it, you're going to need this to get set up real quick. So this thing, you kind of get it roughly weighed in, turn it on, it locks on, the motors do the rest, and you end up getting really nice footage. So I definitely love this thing. It's been a huge added bonus to my channel, and it's improved a lot of my footage. So if you can do this, get one of these guys for sure. All right, so what about your action cameras? What about your suction cameras? All that kind of stuff. So I actually got a couple of different options. This particular one is my main go-to for all my action cameras. So this is a Gecko, so dual suction mount, really rigid, metal arm, and when this thing's mounted, it's tight, like it's not gonna go anywhere. I trust this completely with my action cameras outside the camera, or sorry, outside the car, but I haven't really had a lot of confidence in it with my A6300. It's not that I don't think this will do it, it's just that this is a little bit small to have such an expensive camera hanging outside the car. So I stick to having my action cameras mounted to this guy. I have used this to mount my Sony A6300 inside the car on the windshield, kind of mount and face towards me. You get a lot more room with this one, so you can kind of position the camera exactly where you want it, so it's great for that. And if it was ever to fail, it's just going to fall on the carpet or something like that, or the seat, so I'm not too nervous about that. But if I'm going to start filming some stuff outside of the car with the Sony, I got a totally different setup for that, which I'll show you guys next. Alright guys, this guy, what's in here? This thing is sweet. So I got this not that long ago, and the whole purpose of getting this setup was to kind of step up my game, get the bigger cameras mounted outside the car, and get some really cool dramatic shots. There's so much creativity you can do with one of these, so without any further ado, this is a full Camtree G51. So this is a 3 suction mount system. So you're gonna have 3 suction cups, which are professional grade. These things they're serious. And you're gonna mount this wherever you want. And then you're actually gonna take these arms and you're gonna kind of build it out accordingly. So depending on the distance from one suction cup to the other, you're gonna slowly build it out, and then you've got your base. So this is where your camera's gonna get mounted to, and all these little threaded ports here is where you're gonna actually hook up the rest of the stuff to get it all stable. Once you have this thing all put together, and I'll show you guys a quick little photo here of one of the setups I did on the car, it is rock solid. I've driven around with my camera mounted to the hood, getting those really cool shots where you're going through and into through the windshield, get that dramatic kind of shot. It works awesome for this. And in my intro, when you actually see my car is clearly following another car, I'm actually using this guy with my Sony A6300 mounted to it, and my wife's driving in front of me, and I'm just following her in my car, and it worked out great. So this thing has been huge, and the benefit of this particular model is it's not really that expensive. You can actually afford this one. It's not like thousands of dollars. It's only a couple $100. So I love this one. It works great, and when I mount it, I trust it completely with my camera. So highly recommend this one as well. Alright guys, last kind of must-have items for this type of stuff. You know, you've got your mounts, you've got your batteries, lenses, all that type of stuff as well. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten about that, but I just want to go into too much detail on those types of things, and sometimes it is personal taste, but you're going to want some sort of rigging equipment. So we've got the Camtree, then we've got their gimbals, we've got our GorillaPods, tripods, all that kind of stuff. But one key thing that most automotive guys are going to want is called a slider. So this is what I have. I ended up going with this one. So got this one off of Amazon. It's a really nice piece. So it's really smooth, and this is how you get those kind of cool sliding shots left to right. If you look at my intro again, the very last shot of the, looking through the driver's side door and out over to the windshield, that was done with this exact slider. So I love this thing, and it's carbon fiber, so if you're a car guy, man, we love our carbon fiber. And it's really inexpensive. Like I said, maybe about $150 I paid for this one, and to get yourself started, this is a must-have piece. It's got some legs on it as well, so you can put it down on the ground, you can slide across, and if you get yourself like a fluid head or something like that, to mount the camera on, you can actually get some panning and tilting shots all at the same time. So awesome little piece to have. Highly recommend this to add to your kit as well. Alright guys, that kind of wraps it up for this video. I wanted to make it kind of short and sweet and just kind of go over the highlights of some of the gear that I use. Now, if you guys like this video and you're interested in more like this, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And let me know. Most of my stuff's been about the automotive, the car itself. But, you know, I do enjoy this type of stuff as well. Maybe I can do a few more reviews and go a little bit more in depth on some of the gear if you guys want. So leave me a comment below, let me know. And until next time, see you guys later. Thanks. Bye.